Her stomach began to swell, bigger than anything anyone had ever seen. Boils opened on her skin, and strange worms crawled out at night. Doctors were confused. Pastors cried during prayers. Some even said she was already dead, while still breathing. But it all started with one careless habit. She left her clothes outside at night. Have you ever wondered why our mothers always warned us never to dry our clothes outside at night? Watch this story to the very end, because the lesson may save you or someone you love. And please subscribe, so you never miss stories our elders warned us about. In a quiet rural village surrounded by tall trees and red earth, there lived a young girl named Ada. People often noticed her before she spoke. Not because she was loud, but because she carried herself with calm goodness. Her face was bright, her skin glowed, and her smile was gentle. Elders said she looked like a child blessed by God. Young girls admired her. Young men spoke her name in whispers. Even old women nodded with approval when she passed. Ada lived with her mother, Mama Neka, in a small mud house with a zinc roof. They were not rich, but peace lived in their home. Mama Neka was known as a careful woman. She feared God and respected old traditions. Every evening, she swept the compound, said her prayers, and warned her daughter about many things. One warning, she repeated more than others. Ada, she often said, her voice low and serious, never dry or leave your clothes outside at night. When the sun sleeps, the world changes. Ada would nod each time. Yes, Mama, she replied. But in her heart, she did not fully understand. The village looked quiet at night. The moon shone softly. Nothing ever seemed wrong. One evening, after washing her clothes, Ada spread them on the line outside. The sun was already going down. Mama Neka saw it and frowned. Bring them in before dark, she warned. Night is not for such things. Ada hesitated. The clothes were still wet. She looked at the sky, then back at her mother. Just tonight, Mama, she said gently. Nothing will happen. Mama Neka opened her mouth to speak again, but Ada had already turned away. As darkness slowly covered the village, the clothes still hung outside, moving quietly in the night breeze. And somewhere nearby, unseen eyes were watching. That night, the village fell into deep silence. Dogs curled up beside doorways. Fires died down. Only the moon watched from above, pale and quiet. Ada slept soundly inside the house, unaware that her small choice had opened a door she could not see. Not far from Mama Neka's compound lived a woman named Nagoji. She lived alone and spoke little, but her eyes spoke too much. Every day, she watched Ada pass her house with that gentle walk and soft smile. People greeted Ada warmly. Children ran to her. Mothers whispered kind words about her future. Each time, something burned inside Nagoji's chest. Why her? Nagoji often asked herself in the dark. Why should everything good follow that child? Nagoji was not ugly, but bitterness had changed her face. She once dreamed of respect and happiness, but those dreams had dried up. Seeing Ada reminded her of everything she believed life had stolen from her. That night, as the moon climbed higher, Nagoji stepped out quietly. She wrapped her scarf tightly and moved like a shadow. Her feet carried her straight to Mama Neka's compound. She stopped when she saw the clothes on the line, dancing softly in the wind. Nagoji smiled, but it was not a happy smile. So the girl did not listen, she whispered. She reached out and removed one cloth slowly, as if it could scream. She pressed it to her chest, closed her eyes, and muttered words no one else could hear. The night seemed to hold its breath. Later, before the rooster crowed, Nagoji returned the cloth carefully to the line. Everything looked normal again. Anyone passing would see nothing strange. Inside the house, Ada turned in her sleep and placed a hand on her stomach. A strange warmth moved inside her, like something waking up. She frowned but did not wake. When morning came, the clothes were still there, clean and quiet. Mama Neka brought them in, never knowing one of them had carried the night back with it. And the seed of trouble had already been planted. For the first few days, nothing seemed wrong. Ada woke early, swept the compound, and helped her mother as usual. She laughed with the neighbors' children and fetched water from the stream. But deep inside her body, something had begun to change. One morning, as Ada bent to lift a pot, a sharp movement rolled through her stomach. She froze. "Ah," she whispered, pressing her hand against her belly. It felt strange. Not pain. Not hunger. Just movement. Like something shifting where it should not. Later that day, it happened again. Ada sat quietly, her face pale. Mama Neka noticed. "Are you sick?" her mother asked, touching her forehead. "No, Mama," Ada replied, forcing a small smile. "Maybe I ate too much Gary." Mama Neka laughed softly, but her eyes stayed on Ada longer than usual. By the end of the week, Ada's stomach began to change. It did not grow fast, but it did not stay the same. Each morning, it looked slightly fuller, slightly heavier. Villagers began to notice. "Is Ada with child?" One woman whispered at the stream. Another shook her head. "No man has come near her. This one is not normal." Ada heard the murmurs and felt shame creep into her heart. At night, she lay awake, listening to her stomach move gently, like a living thing learning its pace. "Mama," she said one evening, her voice shaking, "something is wrong with me." Mama Neka sat up at once. Ada lifted her cloth to show her belly. Mama Neka's smile faded. "This is not pregnancy," she whispered. Fear filled her eyes. "Have you done anything? Have you disobeyed me?" Ada remembered the clothes. The night. The warning. Her throat tightened. I left them outside," she confessed. Mama Neka covered her mouth and began to cry softly. "Oh my child," she said, rocking back and forth. "Night is not a joke." Outside, Nagoji passed their house slowly. She heard the crying and smiled to herself. Inside Ada's stomach, the movement grew stronger. And whatever had entered her was no longer sleeping. As days passed, Ada's condition worsened. Her stomach grew larger, rounder, and heavy in a way that did not look human. She struggled to walk long distances. Her once bright face lost its shine. Her eyes sunk, and her laughter disappeared. Mama Neka took her to the village clinic. The nurse pressed Ada's stomach gently, then frowned. "This is strange," the nurse said. "It is not sickness, I know." They sent Ada to a bigger clinic in the next village. The doctor ran tests, shook his head, and wrote notes he did not understand himself. "There is nothing inside her," he said slowly. "But something is moving." The words followed Ada home like a curse. Back in the village, people began to avoid her. Children who once played with her now ran away. Mothers pulled their daughters aside when Ada passed. At night, Ada felt itching on her skin. One evening, as Mama Neka washed her, something small crawled out from under Ada's cloth and dropped to the floor. It was tiny, strange, and quick. Mama Neka screamed. Ada covered her face and cried. "Mama, please don't look at me." The next morning, rumors spread faster than fire in dry grass. "Creatures are coming out of her," someone said. "She is cursed," another replied. Nagoji sat in her house, grinding pepper. She listened to the gossip drifting through her window and smiled slowly. "She is learning," she murmured. Mama Neka stopped going to the market. She stayed inside, praying and crying. "My God," she wept, "take this shame from my child. If I am the one to blame, punish me instead." One night, as Ada lay weak on her mat, she felt a heavy movement again. She screamed in fear, clutching her stomach. Outside, thunder rolled, even though there was no rain. And in the darkness, something unseen laughed softly. By the next week, Ada could no longer leave the house. Her stomach had grown so large that even sitting became painful. She stayed on her mat, breathing slowly, afraid of every movement inside her. Each time she slept, she dreamed of darkness pressing against her body. The village had already judged her. "Do not let her come near your home," people warned one another. "Whatever she has can follow." Even friends who once laughed with Ada stopped asking about her. Only Mama Neka remained, thin and tired from crying and praying day and night. Her eyes were always red. One afternoon, a group of elders came to the compound. They stood at a distance, not stepping inside. "This thing is not ordinary," the oldest among them said. "You must search the spiritual side." Mama Neka nodded quickly. "I am ready for anything. Just save my child." They called different prayer men and herbalists. One came with leaves and smoke. Another spoke long prayers. Another shouted words that made no sense. For a short time, Ada felt calm, but the movements always returned, stronger than before. One night, as Mama Neka slept beside her, Ada felt something crawling again. A small creature slipped out and disappeared into the shadows. Ada bit her cloth to stop herself from screaming. In another compound, Nagoji sat alone, counting cowries and whispering words into the night. "Grow," she said softly. "Let her suffer as I have suffered." But as she spoke, her lamp flickered. A cold wind entered her room. Nagoji paused and looked around. For the first time, fear touched her heart. That same night, Mama Neka dreamed of a tall man dressed in white. He stood by a flowing river and spoke with a voice like calm thunder. "Seek light," he said. "Darkness must be named before it leaves." Mama Neka woke up shaking. She knew then that this battle was not over. The next morning, Mama Neka did not waste time. The dream stayed clear in her mind, like words written on stone. She wrapped her cloth tightly and went from house to house, asking questions she had been too afraid to ask before. "Who hated my child?" she asked softly. "Who was unhappy with her good life?" Some people avoided her eyes. Others whispered and shook their heads. But one old woman at the edge of the village spoke carefully. "There is one," she said. "Nagoji." Her eyes follow Ada grew much. Envy has lived in her heart for long. Mama Neka's heart beat fast. That evening, strange things began to happen in Nagoji's house. Her food lost taste. Her sleep broke again and again. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw Ada standing silently, her stomach large, her eyes full of pain. "Leave me alone," Nagoji shouted into the night. But the fear did not leave. Back in Mama Neka's house, Ada grew weaker. Her voice was thin. Her beauty had faded so much that even her mother struggled to recognize her. "Mama," Ada whispered, tears sliding down her cheeks, "I should have listened." Mama Neka held her tightly. "You will live. God has not finished speaking." That night, the village heard a loud cry. It came from Nagoji's compound. People rushed out with lamps. They found her shaking, confessing loudly without anyone forcing her. "I took the cloth," she cried. "I used the night on it. I wanted her future to rot." The elders stood in silence. Fear covered the village like a shadow. They sent for a true man of God from far away, just as the dream had shown. And as he stepped into the village at dawn, the wind changed direction. The man of God arrived with calm steps, dressed in white robes that seemed to glow under the early sun. Villagers gathered silently, unsure whether to hope or fear. Mama Neka led Ada to him, her hands shaking but her heart full of prayer. He looked at Ada with eyes that seemed to see everything hidden. "Child," he said gently, "your suffering is not without cause. The night brought envy, and envy brought this curse. But the Lord's light can break it." He knelt beside her, placing both hands over her stomach. A soft wind swirled around the room. Ada felt warmth, a gentle shaking inside her, and then, calm. The crawling movements inside her slowed. Slowly, she realized they were gone. Nagoji, who had been watching from the corner, fell to her knees. Tears poured down her cheeks. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I wanted her life to end, but now I see the error of my ways." The man of God turned to the villagers. "Do not let jealousy dwell in your hearts. Protect what is good, and listen to those who warn you. Otherwise, the night will teach lessons you harsh to bear." Ada opened her eyes fully for the first time in weeks. Her beauty had returned, soft and glowing. Her smile came back, shy but certain. Mama Neka held her close, weeping with relief. The villagers gathered around, murmuring apologies and relief. Even children ran to hug her. Peace began to return. And somewhere far away, Nagoji whispered prayers of repentance, finally ready to face the truth of her own envy. Weeks passed, and Ada grew stronger each day. Her beauty, now more radiant than before, seemed to carry a quiet wisdom. She moved with care and patience, aware of how fragile life could be. The villagers often watched her, not with fear, but with admiration and respect. Meanwhile, Nagoji had begun visiting the elders regularly. She confessed her past actions openly, asking for forgiveness and guidance. The villagers were cautious, but slowly, they saw her change. Even jealousy, they realized, could be healed if one admitted it and sought light. And somewhere, in the quiet of her house, Nagoji whispered a promise, "Never again. I will never let envy rule me." And so, peace returned fully. Ada lived happily, the shadow of sickness gone forever, and the story of her trial became a warning for all, a story whispered for generations. Never leave your belongings outside at night. Listen to your parents. Guard against envy. It can destroy both the victim and the one who envies. Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe for more lasting moral and spiritual lesson videos.